Welcome to this free immigration help channel. In this video we will concentrate on processing times, specifically the processing times when it comes to the form I-130, which is the petition for alien relatives. Now the reason why I'm doing this video because I keep on getting really a lot of questions specifically for processing times whenever it comes to I-130, and the reason why there are so many questions, and it's a little bit of complicated process to kind of get into, is because there are a few different things that are involved. If, for example, your regular whatever petition or application that you're filling out, most of the times it just goes through USCIS, US Citizenship and Immigration Services. This one is not just USCIS. This one there is another party that is involved, actually kind of two parties, but we will talk about this in detail in this video. So let's start. As you can see, I have USCIS.gov website open in front of me. Let's figure out the very first part of I-130 and the timelines whenever it comes to filing I-130. So we're gonna go to the tools, and we will locate, we'll go through here, through the case status online. We will locate the USCIS processing times information. So we're gonna click on that, and I will put these links in the description below if you just want to use the link, whichever is easier for you. We're gonna find the petition for alien relative. Now you will have a few different categories. Form category, obviously, if you're filing for your relative, you're petitioning for your relative, based on your permanent residence or based on your citizenship. So whichever status, and who you are inviting. So let's do in this example US citizen. Actually, we'll do maybe couple in this example so that you understand a little better. US citizen filing for spouse, parent, or child under 21. Let's do this one. And then the service center, obviously whichever service center you send to based on where you live, which state you live in. For example, if you live in Florida, I believe it's a Texas service center. So let's just do Texas and see approximately how long it is. So give us 11.5 months. So if you are, and the reason why I have it open, you will understand now why I have it open, because it will be a little bit easier to explain these different stages of I-130 process. So if you are a US citizen filing for your spouse, right? You're a US citizen, your spouse, your husband, your wife, they're not a US citizen. They don't have an immigration status. They are foreign national, right? Maybe they're still back in their home country, or maybe they're here. It really doesn't matter. So you're a US citizen filing for your spouse or your parent or your child under 21. And you live in one of those states that sends it to the Texas Service Center. If that's the case, 80% of cases that I just described, right, they are processed within 11.5 months on USCIS side. Okay, so within most of these cases, within about a year, USCIS will be done reviewing and actually whether approving or denying this case. But that is just USCIS part. Once your case is approved on USCIS side, from then on it is passed to NVC, which is National Visa Center, which is the part of the Department of State, which is a separate, completely whole separate thing to handle your still immigration case, but now it's no longer part of USCIS. Now this has nothing to do with it. And that's where a lot of people get confusion. They think that, oh, just because it shows on USCIS side, well, within a year it should have been done. Unfortunately, that's not the case. This is just for USCIS side, meaning once they approve it, they will transfer it. Now, whenever it comes to the transfer, usually it doesn't take a long time. Usually it takes about a month. So once your case is transferred from the USCIS side to NVC, usually within a month you get the welcome letter, which is either by email or by mail. But before we get to the NVC side, let me just show you here on USCIS website just a few more examples to kind of solidify the point. So let's say this was US citizen, right? But what if you're not a US citizen? What if you're a permanent resident bringing your child into the country. You're petitioning for your child. Let's see, permanent resident filing for a spouse or child under 21. So it's the same category. There's also permanent resident for unmarried son or daughter 21 or older. If they're married, unfortunately, you have to wait for your citizenship in order to invite your kids if they're married. But let's do this one, for example. And let's do whatever, Nebraska Service Center. See how long these cases take. Oh, this actually take quite faster. So 10.5 months in Nebraska. Let's check the Texas Service Center. 20 months. So as you see, it doesn't just depend on the type of application, the category. It also depends on where you're filing from whichever state you're filing from, because that will change the service center that you send to. So as you can see in Nebraska, these exact cases, they process faster, just half of what they get processed typically in Texas. That's a huge difference. So make sure to check this. Make sure to check this processing times for I-130 on USCIS site. Now, if it's been passed this time, you can submit the case inquiry. I have showed in a separate video how to submit the case inquiry, so check that video out. I'm not going to concentrate too much on this. But let's say your case is approved now. That's it. USCIS side, case is approved. It's transferred to NVC. It's transferred to the Department of State. Now what? Okay, so now we're moving on to the NVC side, and there's this very, very helpful kind of like infographic, which is interactive. You can click on each step and it shows kind of a brief explanation and details about this step. I'll put this link in the description below if you want to check it out. You most likely seen that. But on the step 2, NVC processing, this is the very first step basically for when it goes to the NVC, right? So from then on, if you already got the welcome letter, whether it's email or by mail, now responsibility is on you. So don't miss that welcome letter. I say it in pretty much every video on I-130 that I do, that if you miss that welcome letter, right, then your case is just sitting in nothingness, right? Nothing is happening. It's there, it's ready for you to continue working on it, but it's just sitting there in the open because you're not doing anything about it because you missed that welcome letter. It's extremely important to, once your application is approved, I-130 petition approved on USCIS side, you have to be very, very careful, on the lookout every single day, checking your email, checking your mail, waiting for that welcome letter, because now things are on you. You have to log into NVC portal, you have to fill out a few forms, a few applications, you have to pay a few fees, you have to submit a few documents, and then NVC starts processing your case. It's extremely important. But let's say you've done all of that, you logged into the portal, you submitted all the documents, and now you're just waiting. You've done your part basically, and now you're just waiting. Now what? What are the processing times whenever it comes to the NVC? Okay, so here I'm going to show you. It's not as accurate, okay, these processing times, unfortunately, on the NVC side as they are on USCIS, because USCIS, they constantly update based on the volume and overall numbers of the applications on their website. This one doesn't. They kind of release it in advance for each month as they process the cases, so it's not as updated. And also, these are kind of last resort numbers, so like the oldest possible. So I would not rely as 100% on it, because the dates here are way, in the past cases that have been there on their table for a very long time. So I'll show you an example so you understand. So this is for family sponsored. You have a few different categories. Obviously, in the family sponsored preference, you have the first one, unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens. You have the spouses and children of permanent residents. You have unmarried sons and daughters 21 years of age or older for permanent residents, right? And then you have in this table, you have these categories. You have the chargeability areas, right? And then a few countries specifically that have their own chargeability kind of like category, right? Compared to this one where it's for everybody else basically. So the reason why China, India, Mexico, and Philippines, they have their separate ones is because the volume of applications from those countries is higher than most other countries. So they have a one category for everybody else and then separate categories for these two. And you can see these dates here. I mean, they're very, very in the past, right? As you can see, we have December 1st, 2014 for F1. That is unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens. And we have the chargeability, the priority date from December 2014. I mean, this is, relying on this is unfortunately not very, not very reliable, because typically cases like this, they don't take this long, because this is from 2014. I mean, that's, what is it, 8 years, 9 years now? It's ridiculous, right? US citizen waiting to reunite with their son and daughter. It makes absolutely no sense. That's why I said it's kind of hard to rely on this. So I wouldn't put too much into this. However, let's say you've done your part. Let's say you have your case still pending even after this crazy priority date. What can you do? And that's a good question. And I would even recommend not waiting that long. And also I would recommend, if you have not received that welcome letter, still you're sure that you check your email and you check your mail and you're still not receiving the letter, what can you do? There's one thing that you can do, is you can fill out this public inquiry form, and it's going to be on this step 2 page. Again, I'll put the link in the description below, specifically for this public inquiry form. Fill it out. Obviously you'll have to get your NVC number or USCIS receipt number. If you have not received that welcome letter from NVC, you are not going to have the NVC case number, which is fine. You can use the USCIS receipt number instead, so that's great. Obviously your full name, date of birth, petitioner's full name, so principal and petitioner's name is most likely going to be the same. Who are you? Are you a petitioner? Are you attorney? Whatever, you're going to be the petitioner. Your email address, and then obviously be very in detail. All right, explain everything in detail. Put the dates. Put the last step. If you got, for example, if you got the approval from USCIS already, make sure to scan that approval, and you can attach it and upload it and send it here. Obviously, another thing you can always do, you can always try to call the customer service line, but chances are most likely they will have you fill out this form regardless, to kind of see what's going on with your case. And that hopefully should help you. For example, if your case is lost, right? If you were approved on USCIS side and you were sent the email or mail and you never got it and your case is in limbo, this will uncover it. So it's very important to, yes, be aware of processing times. It is important too, but again, as I showed in this video, processing times, unfortunately, they are not 100% reliable. What is reliable for the most part is you staying on top of the case and checking and submitting the inquiries and calling customer service and following up and seeing where your case is actually at. Because if you're still waiting because your priority date, it's still in the future, your applications are not processed yet, it's frustrating, but at the end of the day, all you have to do is just be patient. All right, your case is moving along, everything is good. Yes, you're waiting. Yes, it's taking a long time, but everything is good. Your case is moving along as it should be. It's waiting to be reviewed. It's not good when it's now you had to do something, you had to take a step. In NVC, it's a huge responsibility that you have to take care of. It's you are logging into the portal, paying the fees, filling out the applications. You have to do a lot of stuff. So you definitely don't want to miss that. So hopefully this video was helpful for you to kind of understand the difference between USCIS and NVC and the process and the processing timelines. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Every week I try to do a video where I go through all your comments and questions and answer them one by one. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Appreciate your time as always. Thank you for tuning in. God bless, and I will see you in the next video.